Let's talk about a word that can make just about anyone a little tense: assessment. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if it's more than just a grade and actually a powerful tool for learning itself?
Go on, think about it for a second. What's that first gut reaction? For a lot of us, that word probably brings up a very specific memory, and maybe it's not the best one.
Is it this? That feeling of a huge, high-stakes test where everything's on the line? Yeah, that's the classic image, right? But it's really just one piece of a much, much bigger and more interesting puzzle. So let's totally rethink this. Modern assessment isn't just something that happens at the end. It's this dynamic process that's woven right into the fabric of learning. It's not a final judgment, it's a huge part of the journey. And here is the absolute core idea. What if the goal of assessment wasn't just to measure what someone learned, but to actively help them learn better? It's a massive shift, right? From a tool for measurement to a tool for actual growth. To really get this, let's use a metaphor. Imagine you're building a house. While you're building, there are really two key moments: all the little chickens you do along the way, and then the big final inspection when it's all done. Well, assessment works pretty much the same way. So first, you have formative assessment. Think of this as the builder checking the foundation, the wiring, the plumbing every single day. It's not about giving a grade. It's all about catching little problems early, giving feedback, and making adjustments on the fly so you end up with a really strong house. It is all about improvement. And then, at the very end of the whole process, you have summative assessment. This is that final inspection. The house is built, and an inspector comes to certify that it's up to code. It's an evaluation of the finished product, kind of like a final exam or a standardized test that measures what was accomplished overall. So, to put it super simply, formative assessment happens during the process, and its whole goal is to improve. Summative assessment happens at the end, and its goal is to evaluate. A really healthy learning environment needs both. One doesn't really work well without the other. Okay, but how do we measure the skills that don't really fit neatly into a multiple choice test? The important stuff, like creativity, communication, or critical thinking. Well, for that, we have to look way beyond the traditional test bubble. This is exactly where alternative assessments come in. They're designed to capture a much fuller range of what a person can do by asking them to apply their knowledge in more realistic, more meaningful ways. One fantastic example is the portfolio. Instead of just a single test score, a portfolio is a collection of a person's work, maybe essays, projects, recordings, that really tells the story of their learning journey. It's not just about the final destination, it's about the whole trip. Another really powerful tool is project-based assessment. This is learning by doing. Think about creating a presentation, or producing a short video, or maybe even designing a solution to a problem in your community. This stuff shows how someone can actually use their skills in a real-world context. And the possibilities are just huge. From self-assessment and getting feedback from your peers, all the way to class debates and role-playing exercises. Each one of these gives us a richer, more complete picture of what someone truly knows and can do. But here's the thing. None of these methods, formative, summative, or alternative, actually work without one absolutely critical ingredient: feedback. Feedback is the fuel that powers this whole engine of learning. This quote really just says it all. Good feedback isn't just about pointing out mistakes. It's like a roadmap. It shows a learner exactly where they are, where they need to go, and gives them some directions on how to get there. So, what does effective feedback even look like? Well, it really boils down to three key things. It's going to be specific, not just good job, but your introduction was really strong, but your second paragraph could use a clearer topic sentence. It also has to be actionable. Try adding a specific example right here to support your claim. And finally, it has to be timely, delivered when you can still actually use it to make things better. Now, to make this whole process clear and consistent for everybody, there's an incredibly powerful tool called the rubric. You can think of a rubric as a blueprint for success. It lays out all the expectations in advance so everyone knows exactly what great looks like. Let's look at a simple example here. See how a rubric breaks down a complex task like writing into clear criteria like content and organization? And then, for each of those, it describes what different levels of quality look like. This just removes all the guesswork and makes the feedback specific, objective, and fair. So when we put all these pieces together, what do we get? Well, we get a complete system that's designed not just to test people, but to build confident, capable, and self-aware individuals.
And this is really the key takeaway. These aren't just a bunch of disconnected strategies. They are all parts of a single, cohesive system that's designed to foster deep, meaningful learning. So, a modern assessment framework does a few things really well. It balances those ongoing formative check-ins with the final summative evaluations. It embraces creative, alternative assessments to see the whole person. And it drives everything with clear, actionable feedback. And the result of all that? You get learners who feel empowered to keep growing long after they're done with a class. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If we start to see assessment not as a scary final judgment, but as this continuous cycle of trying something, getting feedback, and improving, how could that change the way we approach learning anything new in our own lives? It's a pretty powerful idea to think about.